there's a lot of reasons why I am weary of the Gates family, of Microsoft's founding, of even Bill Gates' family history. So being, trying to be on the forefront of what's happening and that's new in the world of technology, and Microsoft now giving $1 billion to OpenAI to fund AGI, artificial general intelligence, something that we should all be very wary of. The very fact that they connected themselves to Microsoft should be wary, because anything connected to that family is scary.
Yeah.
Here are my top 8 reasons I am concerned with the Gates family. Number 1, Gates has said, if there was such a thing as world government, we would be better prepared. That statement alone is enough for me.
Yeah,
that goes on the list. Number 2, Bill Gates refuses to explain why he flew on pedophile Epstein's plane. He still will not talk about why he was on the plane. Now, I don't know if he's a pedophile. I don't know. I don't think he is. But I don't think he wanted to reveal his obsession with funding transhumanism. That is what I think it was connected to. It was connected to transhumanism because Epstein was very into that.
Yeah.
So I don't trust it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Number 3, Gates Foundation has owned previously over 1 million shares of Monsanto, who looks not only to control the world's food supply and poison everything as they do it, they do their best to ruin any competition from sustainable growth and to destroy organic farmers. At one point in time, Bill Gates was a convinced Malthusian. So why does this have to do with Monsanto? The medical definition of Malthusian is of or relating to Malthus, or to his theory that population tends to increase at a faster rate than it can be sustained, and that unless it is checked by moral restraint or disease, famine, or war, or other disaster, widespread poverty and degradation inevitably result. This is the theory of Malthusian. He was formerly a convinced Malthusian,
which is completely wrong. It's completely wrong because the population has gone up since about 1990. The population has gone up by about 2 billion, and the percentage of the population that was considered in extreme poverty has dropped since 1990 from 36% to 8%. So in the same time that population growth has gone up by 2 billion. That percentage drop in poverty, I mean, it's not true. The growth in population does not equal worse life.
So being a former Malthusian, I'm not comfortable with Bill Gates' seemingly obsession with a coming pandemic. Because it's like he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. Where, yes, this would help. But I feel like he almost got so big, so famous, that he was like, well, I can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
That we talk about the next deadly disease that will cause a global pandemic is coming. It's coming, Bill Gates said. We're not ready. An illness like the pandemic of 1918 influenza could kill 30 million people within just a couple of months, Gates has said. Adding that the next disease might not even be a flu, but something we've never seen before, and the world should prepare as it does for war. Which I believe is true. That's revelation, but you were a former convinced Malthusian, which you would have been advocating for that and partnering with people like Monsanto who actually have the capability of producing that. I'm not comfortable with it.
Very contradictory.
And being one of the richest men in the world. I mean, come on, listen, number 4, Bill Gates' dad, Bill Gates Sr., was a top eugenicist and served on the board of Planned Parenthood. Talking about controlling population there. Yeah. So eugenics, by the way, he's being a top eugenist. Eugenics is the science of improving a human population by controlled breeding to increase the occurrence of desirable heritable characteristics. From its conception, Planned Parenthood, the Rockefeller Foundation was at the vanguard of the birth control movement, the Rockefeller Foundation. Being a major supporter of Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood. Today, the Gates are more connected to the Rockefellers than probably ever before. And don't forget, Margaret Sanger founded Planned Parenthood. If not for the sole part, in large part, to kill African Americans.
I mean, she literally had a program called the Negro Project. This was the name of it. And she considered African Americans to be genetically unfit and wanted to wipe them out. And what she did was she recruited leaders in the African American community and ministers to basically fuel her propaganda campaign. This is an actual quote from her. The minister's work is also important, and he should be trained perhaps by the Federation as to our ideals and the goal that we hope to reach. We do not want word to get out that we want to exterminate the Negro population.
That is a direct quote from Margaret Sanger.
Those were her words.
Okay.
And the minister is the man who can straight out that idea
Use
if
the
it
pulpit.
ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members.
Wow. Bill Gates Sr., as revealed in I think it was a 2003 interview by Bill Gates, because we know that he was on the board of Planned Parenthood.
Right.
Bill Gates said in a 2003 interview that he was actually the head of Planned Parenthood for a time. And he talked about how as a child, his parents would treat him like adults at the dinner table and talk about their work at Planned Parenthood. Now, as a small child, and it meant a lot to Bill that at this age he'd be treated kind of almost like an adult. That would put you in probably the early 60s, because Bill Gates was born in 1955. So he's sitting as a little boy around the dinner table, talking about maybe 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, I don't know, 10. Mm-hmm. We're talking about probably around the early 60s.
Right.
All right. So Margaret Sanger would have either been in the 50s or 60s while Margaret Sanger was still alive. So the person I'm saying their paths would have absolutely crossed.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. While giving a TED presentation, Bill Gates said, quote, "The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really good job on vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 to 15%. So he's saying that the world population could be lowered by 10 to 15% if they did a really good job on vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services. Wow. Talk about a statement that has went viral. Now, whenever he was if he was confronted with this, his argument was, well, I'm saying that if people have a really good quality of life, that they won't have babies. Okay.
I disagree.
Common Core, as you know, is for the dumbing down of kids to make them stupid. Common Core standards was a disaster from day one, and it is recognized as a failure now today. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation pumped nearly $215 million into the Common Core project, and it's been an absolute failure. Bill Gates and the UN want to create future globalists, okay? Kids who must not focus on themselves or their interests, or even the interests of their own country, but on being good global citizens. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and look up the UN's Global Education First Initiative. This is what was connected to Common Core. And the UN's Global Education First Initiative, its plans are 3 points: to put every child in school, no homeschooling, to improve the quality of learning, and to foster global citizenship. Number 7, Bill Gates is investing tens of millions along with the Rockefeller Foundation, Monsanto Corporation, and the government of Norway, among others, in what is called the Doomsday Seed Bank. Just don't feel good about it. And number 8, did you know that Bill Gates and Richard Branson had even invested into meat, fake meat, that cost $18,000 a pound. Now, obviously, as it would have become more marketable, it would have become much cheaper. But the fact was, basically, because of our meat producing efforts, they generate nearly 1/5 of the greenhouse gas emissions. So we've got to create fake meat. You can't eat cheeseburgers, and the government is going to reach into your home and rip that cow meat out of your hand because they can.
Yep.
And they should,
Just like
to
Kamala
save the
Harris.
planet.
Yep.